Welcome to Your Time to Thrive with personal fitness coach Jason Stevenson.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Thrive Training Podcast. It's another beautiful Wednesday here, and we have a special guest on today. You guys have all heard about her, but today's guest is somebody that's near and dear to my heart, and the reason that I am who I am and why I do what I do. To lead in there a little bit more, this is somebody that has taught me everything that I need to know about being a personal trainer from the very beginning, but also everything that I need to know to be a good person and a good human being in this world. And I'm really, really grateful to her. This is my mom. My mom's been a personal trainer as a professional, and here she is. Can you hear me now? Coming. Can you hear me now?
Here she is.
He's behind, I think. I think there's a.
Can you hear me now?
Well,
so
I
that-
can't hear you through mine, but I can hear you through Rocky's.
Shut off.
Can you hear me now?
There you
Here
go.
she is.
Okay.
There you go. So can you
There
hear
you
me
go.
on the current time?
Now,
Then you're going to have to turn that off.
I can't
Just
hear him,
turn-
Rocky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just with. Oh, wait. Bring your
Restart.
camera. What?
Restart your browser.
I can't hear you.
Restart your browser.
Just want to do it with this one?
Technological difficulties.
Restart.
What?
Restart your browser.
I can't hear you.
And it'll get you back in.
Restart your browser.
Just want to do it with this one?
That's no problem. That's typical technical difficulties that we're all used to dealing with. It's one of the things that Ben and I've talked about a couple of times, actually, is our convenience factors that we can actually
Still,
communicate
it's
via
Rocky.
Zoom.
No, that-
I can hear you live. Can you hear me live?
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
I got you.
there we go. You know, it's funny. It's one of the things that we actually joke about all the time is our conveniences that we can actually
Nope.
do live videos. Can you hear me now?
It's like you're going through water.
Did you restart your browser?
I did. Now I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
I can. You seem fine now.
There you go. Then we're live. That's, folks, for those that don't know, this is my mom. This is Peg Care Ingalls, and she is on Ingalls Shore in Bernard, Maine right now. So maybe that's part of it.
Could be.
You're out in the middle of nowhere right now. Technological difficulties and stuff that we've all had to deal with given the last couple of months. So, hi.
How you doing? Hi,
I'm
Meg.
good.
Hi,
There you
Becky.
go. That's the cool part. You'll get real-time chat comments here. So how are you today?
I'm doing very well. Feeling good.
Good. I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You and I have been talking fitness and talking COVID and talking real life for 43 years now.
No, can't be that long.
Well, it's 43 for me. What's it,
Oh,
half
right.
for you?
Well, I had you when I was 10, so that would make sense.
I'm grateful for all of it, however long it was. So, a quick background. You have been a professional trainer for how long?
30 years.
And what got you started on that?
Well, actually, I started teaching fitness classes when you guys were little. And I moved up in the organization that I was in and kept getting additional education until they advanced me to a directorship in a club. And I stayed there for, 15 years. And then I felt like I had hit the ceiling where I was. So I quit and went out on my own for a short period of time, but it was recruited into a big fitness club. It was a tennis club, and as their fitness director. So I went in there, and what I learned during that period of time was I hated management. So within a very short period of time, that club itself sold the club to another outfit, and they fired all the professional staff, anybody that was on full-time salary or benefits. And so I was out on unemployment and trying to, figure out what I was going to do next. I knew I didn't want to go into any of the clubs in a management way, but a couple of my good clients that I was training, I was only training a couple people at the club, but those people said to me, come train me at home. And how many do you need to get yourself to the point where you could sustain yourself until you can figure out what you want to do? And I told this one client, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind my using her name, Carol Kaplan. And I said I needed this many hours in order to be able to pay my rent. And within 2 weeks, I was there. And within a very short time, I was over where I needed to be, and ended up recruiting another trainer to work with me. And in a short period of time, I guess we did that for I ended up hiring another trainer. So there were 3 of us trying to meet the needs of the in-home clients that we had. And then we opened up a small studio in Philadelphia, and that didn't work out well because the mean income in that area couldn't sustain what we were doing. And so because most of our business was on the main line, so we ended up going back out to the main line, moving the studio out to a little studio out in the main line, and then eventually opened up another studio, and then opened up a studio in my house. So we had 2 studios running, and just, hired more trainers and kept it going. Just kept going.
I think that's
and eventually
been
Jason came and joined us, thank goodness. And I really thought, how long were you with me? Do you remember?
3 years.
3 years. That seemed like a little bit longer than that. But in that 3 years, I was at the point where I was thinking, well, I can turn over some management responsibilities to somebody that I trust. And I was really moving in that direction. And he announced that he was leaving. He's going back to Rhode Island. And I was like, oh no. And but he helped me find. He said I'll find my replacement, and he did. It was a miracle. I found Christian Jante, who was like amazing. And at the end of my business, I was starting to hand over things to him. Then another 10 years later, I started handing over scheduling issues to him. And I think the only thing that I handled was the money at the very end. And I, eventually sold the business, and here I am. I never really, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said to her, I thought I'd die being a trainer. I would never give up training. But interestingly enough, my mind and my head and everything got so filled up with so many other things that by the time I was going to triple back to it, all my certifications, my insurance, everything had lapsed. And I thought, I don't have to go through all that again. That's ridiculous.
But don't you still think that who you were as a trainer, who you are as a person, because you taught me the authenticity side behind it, that that's still who you are, that person, because I know you have conversations with people still that reach to you, or they say, hey, look, I need some advice on this, or what are you doing now? Because
interestingly enough, Jason, you probably don't know this. I'm still writing out workouts for people online.
I'm not surprised.
I just need a leg workout. I'm in my house and I don't know what to do. So I, I want a hip workout or whatever. So I'm still writing workouts.
Well, so you'll be doing this for a lot longer.
Yeah, I guess I still am. I'm just not getting paid for it any longer.
Well, I've found that in my experience, some of the best rewards that I got from this was not the monetary rewards.
Well, I remember talking to, of course, all the trainers that I hired, they all had the same mindset that I'd do this even if I didn't get paid. We used to say that. Well, the reality is you need to get paid in order to continue to do it, in order to be able to live and make it make that your life. But it is interesting that here I am after saying that I've circled back to the point where I am doing it without getting paid. Yeah, you're right. It is who I am. I mean, it is who I am.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I'll always be grateful for as far as being a trainer, is that it's the first career step that I've taken, or job, if we're going to label it as a job, that I feel like I am who I am. I can be authentic, because we ask that of our clients. We
Right.
ask that vulnerability, that honesty. I mean, like when we were training in Philly, I remember waking people up, like literally like knock on their door. They'd wake up, they'd come down the steps, and start their day with us, so you almost don't have a choice. It's like Meg and I joked about last week, that like, you're going to get raw, you're going to get me real. And as a client, and then as a trainer, then we get to be real,
Yeah.
it's an interpersonal relationship that helps build that to a successful place,
Yeah.
where it works for both people.
Right. And
Where you can,
it's an unusual relationship, because I mean, a lot of the clients that we saw, I don't know how, I'm not sure how many times a week you're seeing your people, probably not as much with the Zooming, but we were seeing people 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And most of our clients we saw 3 times a week, and 3 times a week with an hour of one-on-one real connecting, and really spending time in that person's face. It's a really unusual relationship. It's like you're spending more time with your clients sometimes than their husbands or their wives do. Yeah.
yeah, even if it's
Undivided
not,
attention, undivided
yeah,
attention, nothing else
yeah.
going on. Nobody's allowed to interrupt. It's amazing. It's a lesson about relationships, in my opinion.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. So how do you think being a trainer has changed your life, besides providing an income and creating an avenue to create relationships and develop a lifestyle for yourself? How do you think being a trainer has changed your life?
Well, I feel the same way you do about how it was. I had done a lot of different things for short periods of time from the time I came out of school, and I was always looking for something that didn't feel like a job, but
Yeah.
that made me feel as though I could expand as I was, as a person. And teaching fitness programs was my first step into that. I had a background in health and physical education, so that wasn't like that, big of a leap for me. But it was realizing that I could become more as a person. I think when you work like we do with one-on-one with people, you can't help. I mean, it's supposed to be their time that they are. You're focusing on them, but you can't help but get something from that. You're not supposed to in reality. I mean, they're paying you for your one-on-one attention to them, but I don't know that there's any training situation that I was ever in that I didn't get something back from that relationship, that I learned something about myself, or that helped me grow in some area. So I think that, being doing that, choosing that as my career path, I felt like it had chosen me. I just really did. I felt like it was, Bishart. It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure. That's funny that you use that phrase, because that was a gift you were given too.
yes,
um, that's part of it, Meg. Meg says it's like having a therapist best friend, but in the same sense, what we're talking about too is we get that back. That
yeah,
we get that candor and that honesty and that feedback from other people. It's our clients are very good mirrors for us.
yes,
And that they teach us who we are and who we can be. Because I feel like I get pushed by my clients because I want to be better for them. I want to be challenging to them. I want to be up to date. There's ways that I feel professionally driven because of my clients. As opposed to, oh, I have to get up, I have to be there at 9 o'clock. It's like, all right, so what am I doing for this person today? What do they need? What are they going through that I
they're
need to
our
be there for?
motivation. They're your clients are your motivation. They're I know it sounds dramatic to say this, but they're your reason for being.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so, you invest everything in them. I mean, one of the things when I retired that I was concerned about, and I did talk to Christian about this for a period of time. Maybe I said to you too. I was wondering what I was going to do with my wake up time in the middle of the night, because I would wake up. I mean, that would fill my time in the middle of the night. I'd be planning workouts. I'd be, planning motivational strategies. I'd be planning for whatever clients I was seeing the next day. It would, instead of doing relaxation, that's how I would put myself to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was concerned about, am I going to be able to sleep? Because I don't have clients to plan on the next morning. Who am I going to be?
You're going to continue to be who you are.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part. Yeah. Yeah. You've been doing that now recently. So what are some things, because this is a little bit more up to date now, bringing us up to speed is what else are you doing now that we've all been stuck or quarantined or choosing to be, or at least our lifestyles have changed substantially. What are you doing different this year that you weren't doing before?
Well, I've done a lot more gardening. I did a
Okay.
lot more gardening. I have some land up here, and we grow, vegetables, and I did more flowers this year. I am cooking more, and actually, that's something that I always enjoyed doing.
Oh yeah.
And so it's because of where we're located, I don't have the options that we have down in North Carolina to order out or take out as much. I mean, we're very limited. So I'm really doing a lot of cooking, and I'm back to doing more research about food. I used to do a lot of research with foods around my clients, and
Yes.
now I'm back to doing that, and having conversations online. And I have a fellow that does energy work with me, and he and I do a lot of talking about organic foods and how they're impacting on our society and illnesses.
Yes.
And, so yeah.
So if you could give any advice to people out there right now about their food, especially during a pandemic, what would it be?
Well, and I know how hard this is for people to hear. And people don't want to hear this, but cook your own food, prepare your own foods. Don't try not to fill your diet up with foods that have already been prepared, or in a box. I said to somebody the other day, just don't go in the grocery store. Just don't go inside the store. Stay on the outside. You go down one aisle on the side and the back. So that's all fresh foods. That's all single food items. And you can buy anything there, but don't go in the aisles because that's where you get into trouble inside. So yeah, eat real foods. Eat real foods. Food is, in my opinion, food is medicine. And what you feed yourself is what you are. So my biggest suggestion is feed yourself.
I don't know if you know this, but I tell my clients now that that's a thing that I learned from you at a young age was to cook. That I just recently found out that you snuck tofu into a lot of the things that we ate when we grew up.
I've learned better since. I don't do it, but I did.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for it because I've been healthy most of my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And it taught me to be creative and to cook. But I use that as an example of how you encouraged us to eat healthy without us really knowing about it. Because what you were giving us was healthy, even if we thought it was lasagna,
Yeah, right.
Because it still looked like it still tasted like it, but
Right.
what you were giving us, you were making that effort. So that's one of my favorite stories to tell people, because the truth is we can make food that we want to be delicious. You can cook something and be really excited about it. And I love being able to pass that on because you taught me that. So even my culinary education didn't teach me to have a passion for food and a passion for flavor. It taught me the practical skills behind it. But
right.
I love being able to talk to people. And like Meg and I talked about that last week. And I know Becky, who's listening, has come a long way in her cooking as well, because for people to have either a fear or an inability or just a lack of experience in their cooking to then start to cook and to have food that they really enjoyed, like to have them, to have them share a story with me. Like, I made this and I put this on it and then I did this to it and it was so good. It's like, yes.
Well, do you remember me telling you about teaching your father to cook?
You mean trying to teach Dad to cook?
Well, yeah. Well, when we were first together and he didn't cook anything, he didn't know anything about the kitchen. You know how his mother used to prepare foods for his father if
Yeah.
she had a meeting, and So at one point he said to me, "But I don't know how to cook." I mean, I felt like we should be sharing some responsibilities. He said, "I don't know anything about it," and I said, "Well, I'll teach you how." And I started him with a casserole. And I said the best way to learn to make soups or stews or casseroles is to choose the things you love and to put in them. So you need a protein source. So usually start with that, and then you have to figure out if you want to add a starch of some sort, a noodle, or potato, or rice, or something. What's that going to be like? And then you want to think about what other things do you like in them? Do you like onions? Do you like mushrooms? Do you like garlic? If you don't have to put any of that in, but whatever you like. And he made a tuna, I think it was like a tuna fish casserole. And he put something in it that I was like appalled at. And it was so good. I think olives. I think he might have thrown olives in because I was encouraging him to be and trying not to criticize in any way, but just say, well, then now you need to add this. And I think he added cheese. And he made this really, it was different, but it was really good, and he loved it. He just loved it, and that's the joy of cooking right there, is putting what you want in that food.
Yeah, I think that's, for me, is one of the reasons that I like doing most of the cooking at our house, because I know I'm going to like it. Not that Kirsten can't cook her pants off. She's really good in the kitchen too. But I really enjoy making sure that I know what's going in my food.
Yep.
So the COVID thing has changed a lot of people's lives, obviously, and whether it's accessibility or convenience. And where you guys are in Bernard right now, you don't have accessibility to a lot of stuff. So how has your workout routine changed? Because I know that through the years, because of logistics, like where you are and who you're working with, you've been able to maintain, and you've really worked hard at that. But it's changed a lot this year, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I'm a great believer in having a trainer. Having been a trainer almost all my life, I know that when I work out with somebody who is in charge of my workout, it's a different experience for me, and I think all of us, when we're working out, do the things we enjoy doing or that we do best. Like I would
For sure.
do a chest workout every day over anything else, for instance. Well, I'm not sure that that's what I would do. I'm trying to think. But I mean, people say that to me, and you can see it in bodies. People would come to us and say, I need some help. And you'd look at them and you'd know what they were working out.
Yeah.
Like, the big guy with a big chest in the gym and no legs, like skinny from the knees
Skinny
down.
legs.
Like, you think to how can he stand? And it's because he doesn't enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And so when you work out with a trainer, they're going to look at your whole body and try to give you a whole a workout that's going to work for your whole body, not just what you like. So that's been devastating to me to not have a trainer. I don't have access to a trainer up here. We did last year, but with COVID, we can't have them coming here anymore.
Yeah.
So that's been a big change for me. I'm fortunate that I have a building that has, I have a bike set up on a stand so that I can do stationary biking, and I have weights, and I bought things to use up here, and I have a TRX, which is, I mean, if I had only one piece of equipment and it was a TRX, that would be the one I'd have. But I have kettlebells and I have other things, so I do go out into the barn, and now what I've learned in the last couple of days since we've been waking up and it's 28 degrees in the morning, and that building isn't heated, is that I need to warm up a little bit before I go.
Yeah.
In there. Actually, I have to have my body a little bit warm because it's pretty cold in there. So I do a little pre-warm up, and then I go in there and I get on the bike, and I do TRX. I try to do a different body part, or focus on it. Like I might focus on just arms one day.
Yeah.
So I do that in between. So I'll be on the bike for maybe 20 minutes, and I'll get off and do some arms, and I'll get back on the bike for 10 minutes, do some more arms, back and forth like that. And then one day I'll do legs. One day I'll do chest. And then one day I'll do back. I usually break it up like that. But like, I'm fortunate. I know that I'm fortunate because I have a huge basket of tricks.
Yeah.
I can think of, if you say to me, I want to do my chest, give me like an exercise to do my chest. One exercise?
Yeah.
When I work out, I try to do at least 8 different exercises for my chest. And so I know that I'm fortunate because I know I have all that, it's one of the things I have. But again, the other thing that I have done is I've gone online. Now, I know that Jason has some online workouts. Are you still doing online workouts?
Yep.
And I downloaded a couple of those that Rocky and I both use. And my trainer that was down in North Carolina has some things online that are inexpensive. It's, and Peloton, I'm not doing a commercial for Peloton, but I've told a lot of people this. They do 30-day free trial. And they did it originally for their bike, but you don't have to purchase their bike. You don't even have to have a bike. You don't have to have any equipment. All you need is the size of a yoga mat space, and some soup cans or some milk jugs. Join you for a farm workout. I'd love for you to come, Becky, and do a farm workout with me. You've been there, we can have a good time. You can. What is she saying? How do you prioritize your food and exercise in an affordable way? Well,
it's a great question, Meg.
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I don't ever, when I would go in home to people and they would, they'd say, okay, well, I need equipment. I tell them that, full body weight is a good way to start. When you get to the point where that's not enough, then, you use things that you have around the house. I found a rope on the shore, an old rope that, Rocky found it, that I used for battling rope training. And I had it hooked around a leg of a chair, or no, I actually had it around his cannon that he discovered was a cannon. But
that's right. That was a couple years ago.
Bands are inexpensive. And resistance workout is absolutely one of the best workouts. It's,
would you prioritize movement over food though? Because if you're somebody that's starting on something or just trying to do the best they can right now, what would you prioritize?
I wouldn't prioritize food over movement. What I used to tell my people was, you have to do a little bit of each as you go. So you walk 10 minutes, if that's all you can do, away from your house, and 10 minutes back. That's 20 minutes. And you increase your water. It's well over 50. It used to be 55% of your body weight in fluid ounces, but it's closer to 65%.
Yeah,
of your body weight in fluid ounces. So that's the first nutritional thing that I had people do. I'd have them walk 10 minutes away from your house, walk 10 minutes back, and increase your water to at least,
why that water changed?
Pardon?
Do you know one of the reasons that the water recommendation changed? Because the percentage of fresh versus packaged and processed food changed. And the more fresh food that you eat has more natural hydration to it. Yeah, it has more water in it. And because the average American eats more processed and packaged food, they've upped the recommended amount of water that people drink. Because remember, it's all subjective. So if you tend to eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, then you get a lot of water from that.
Right.
But you should pay attention to the color of your urine, pay attention to your energy levels, pay attention to your skin, your complexion, to really check your hydration levels.
Yeah, I used to have my people do that for a week and try to bring their fluids up to 50% of their body weight.
Yeah.
And they're walking up to 20 minutes away, 20 minutes back, within a 10-day period. And once they got to that point, then I would add on another fitness piece. For instance, do that and then come back and do, see, I like full body weight exercises for people in home. So then you do a slanted push-up. So against a wall or against a table or whatever you can handle.
Stairs.
Stairs
Are great.
And then add a new vegetable to your diet. Find a couple different ways to add a new vegetable to your diet. And then I would do that in weekly increments. And as they were increasing and as they were becoming more progressive, then I would progress their suggestions. But I would never prioritize one over the other. First of all, food is, essential to life. And there's so many things that you can do fitness-wise that does not require any equipment at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
At all.
Absolutely.
And
well,
I also recommend people borrow. Like, if you want, because I have a lot of people they think, okay, I'm going to set up my gym, and they buy all this stuff and then they would never use it. So, you borrow, a set of 5-pound weights from a friend who's already progressed to they're now at 10-pound weights. But if you ask around, you put it on Facebook and say, can I borrow 10-pound weights for, a month? And then find a zillion different ways to use those, just that one set of weights.
Yeah.
And if you need an idea, you can email me at pegbodytime@gmail.com, and I'll give you.
There you go.
20 ways to use a 10-pound weights.
At least.
At least 20 things.
Careful.
But
and remember,
you
friends,
don't need a lot of equipment.
There you go.
And you
Careful.
can make equipment too. You can, it's really easy to make equipment. The TRX, if you do some research on that, that's body suspension workouts. That's an amazing piece of equipment. But you can just put a rope with handles someplace. I mean, the original ones I used to hook into the door and shut the door on it and lean out from the door. But there's all this stuff online that's amazing. But as far as the equipment, going back to the Peloton and to the downloading workouts from trainers, most of them are downloading full body workouts where you don't need any equipment, or they'll say bring 2 soup cans, 15-ounce soup cans. You can do a lot with a 1-pound weight if you're doing it enough and correctly. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question, Megan.
Yeah. No, it did beautifully. It's exactly what we talk about all the time, which is repeatable, maintainable, and small habit changes that you can keep, because trying to tackle everything all at once and get an hour workout and eat perfect is just not going to happen, No. But asking for help and getting accountability and learning how to add slowly to our habits allows us to be able to keep those habits.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you could go back any specific length of time, what would you tell your younger self? Would there be anything that you would like to share that you've learned?
I think be more confident and start earlier. I would have started this particular career earlier. I really didn't start it till I was, I'm thinking mid-30s, probably mid-30s. I jumped around a couple different areas and I took people's advice, and I was trying different things, and I taught classes from the time I was 30, I think, for a very short period of time. But I think, be more confident to do what I love and spend more time doing what I love.
What if you don't know what you love? How do you find that? Because you said you listen to other people's advice. So we do want to listen to people that are more experienced than us.
I think I said this to you. We were just, maybe it wasn't you I was talking to, but one of the things that when I came out of school, all I thought about when I thought about a career was how to make money. That was how can I make money? Because I need to contribute. I need to be able to support myself, or, when I was married, I needed to find some way to contribute. So I was looking at ways to make money.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at ways to use my talents, I didn't really think about using my talents. I thought about how could I make money, and I poo-pooed anything that was, because you couldn't make money. I think I was making, when I was teaching classes, maybe $10 a class, an hour, you know,
It's a lot of work.
just teach 2 classes in a row, so I'd at least make 20.
Right.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking at, and I think that that's why I never considered that as a way to go as a career path, because I just figured there's no way I could support myself or anybody else on that amount of money. So I think that's, if I could go back now, I would have been less worried about making money and spend more time and energy trying to find something that made me happy. Happiness is much more elusive than making money. I mean, you can make money. I could have been a salesman. I was a salesman, so I mean, I could sell anything. But cooking and foods and fitness were 2 of my passions, and I went to it late. I really went to it late, and I
Well, it's
wish
a
I
good
had been.
thing you did, though.
Why?
Well, for one, it created a path that gave you a lot of happiness and a lot of success, and you were able to help a lot of people.
Oh,
And
I
2,
thought you meant it's a good thing I waited so late to do it.
no, it's a good thing that you found it when you did.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you know, the truth is, I ask that question of a lot of people because I like learning about people's perspective. But the truth is, we are in the place we are, and we learn the things we're supposed to when we're ready to. You know, we're given the opportunities to do the things that we're
Yeah.
supposed to when we're supposed to. I thoroughly believe that. That had things been different, you would be different.
Yes, I think that there was probably a lot of things that I needed to learn along the way. Um, and, you know, I actually did put a lot of energy into moving up corporately in the fitness. Once I was in there,
Yeah.
moving up corporately in there. I finally made it to a management position where I had, because I was looking to get a job that I had full-time benefits
Right.
and salary. And I think I was 40 before before I did that. And I got there and I was like, I hate this. I don't want to manage other people. I want to teach people. I don't want to, check to see if all the toilets have toilet paper in them, and if the water's right in the whirlpool. I mean, I
Yeah.
really, and the ceiling's leaking in the tennis court, so I had to get together with the rest of the management team and clean up the floors. I
Right.
hated it. I loved teaching. And so one of my jobs was to train the trainers and get them set up. And I would do the fitness assessments for our clients. And then I would assign them to a trainer. And every once in a while, I'd have somebody who would be really obstinate, like Tracy and Carol. And they insist that they had to train with me after they trained with a couple other people. But and I loved it. I absolutely loved it so much. And so that when I got let go, it wasn't a terrible thing. It wasn't a
Yeah.
terrible thing at all. It opened up the door for me to be able to do what I absolutely loved. And I think desperation, I was like, rubbing 2 sticks together to, make a fire. I mean, I had no money, but once I got myself rolling and was doing what I loved, it really did support me. Luke and I use our what did she say? Luke and I use our big what?
Becky was making a suggestion that they use their big water jugs for deadlifts.
Yes.
So being creative around your house and just picking things up and finding out what has some resistance to it, whether it's a dog or a child or
Yes.
an inanimate
I
object.
used to call mothers at home who and do their in-home trainings and make them use their baby. They'd say, well, the baby's going to wake up. That's fine. We'll use the baby. And so the baby wake up, and I'd say, grab that baby. We're going to do, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Sit-ups, put the baby between your arms and do push-ups, do
Plenty.
squats, pick them up every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And now they're selling equipment that's a destabilized resistance filled with water, as opposed to a child that's going to constantly be a destabilized resistance.
Water jug is an excellent idea, Becky, because you can also weigh it. Then you can decide how much weight you want in that water jug.
Yep.
So what is Meg saying? What are your experiences? What is that, Jason?
What were your experiences as a woman working in the fitness, health, and sport industry, specifically as a boss? So reactions or?
Well, okay. The thing that I really didn't like about it the most was that everybody that worked in the fitness industry at that time was part-time. So I had lawyers who would come in and teach a class at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And, everybody was working part-time. So their commitment was not full-time, meaning I mean, as far as commitment to their 1 hour a week.
Yeah, to what they did.
So it was very casual. So if a friend said, come, let's have a drink, it was easier for them to blow off because it was only 1 hour. And at that time, everybody was working part-time. Nobody worked. I mean, only the management staff worked full-time. So yeah. And it was mostly women who did that. I mean, it was mostly, I had a couple guys who taught classes, but most of them were women. And so when things started turning over into more of a personal training, the women seemed much more motivated to go back to school and to get into that field than men. And then now it's starting to turn over. So you are seeing more and more men, but
Yeah.
it was mostly a woman's. It's a good field to be in as a woman, actually, because, you can, and I mean, it's a real easy thing once you establish yourself.
Yes.
By working in a gym or working in the industry for a couple years, and I'd say 5 to 10 years. Once you do that, put your time in, it's really relatively easy to be a trainer on your own. I mean, it's not, it's hard to be totally on your own, although I think you are, Jay. No, you have some support. It's because you can't be full-time 24/7, 12 months out of the year. And so it's better to have somebody else there to fill in when you need to step away.
Yeah.
Or you're going to burn out.
For sure. For sure. I think that's the piece of it, that getting the help to get where you want to is something that people are reticent to do most of the time. You're either embarrassed that you need help, or you're too shy to ask for help. You don't know who to ask for help. But on multiple facets here, being able to find something where you can help people. They say that some of the greatest inventions that made the most money in this world, somebody met a need and then just sold the product. So they helped people. This is something that, like poop bags. They are now a product. You sell poop bags because people don't like dog poop on their lawn. So somebody came up with a biodegradable little bag that you can now collect your dog poop in, and they're making money off of that because I just bought poop bags.
Yeah.
But in a career path, because what we can do is help people. There's a need for that, and then like we talked about at the beginning of the show, that there's a reciprocation in that I'm helping somebody, they're helping me, and we're all getting something out of it. So there's a benefit to that. In the same way that you need help in doing that. I wouldn't be where I am now in Westerly without Derek at Precision Fitness, because we have a great working relationship and we give each other a lot of respect and a lot of space and a lot of support, and we're allowing each other to be who we are. And that makes both of us better trainers and makes both of us more successful. And we have a successful training space that we share with people all day long, of all ages and shapes and sizes and fitness levels. It's a beautiful thing, but that's because we all chose to help somebody and somebody asked for help. It's an interesting piece of the personal training world because you're helping somebody.
Did I answer Meg's question?
Becky's or Meg's? Yes. Do you feel like you did? Did you have so do you feel like you had positive experiences being a woman in the fitness industry?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like I was given a lot of respect. Like I said, there were, I never considered other trainers in the area competition. I always considered them support. I always considered them, if they were really good in the area, they would elevate personal training. If they were not good, they wouldn't last.
And they'd send them over to you.
And I'd end up with their clients. Right? But at the time, I'm trying to think. I guess now that I think about it, I guess I was the only female that I knew in the area at the time that did have. I guess they were guys used to own them, but they weren't the trainers.
Right.
And I was the owner trainer, so that made kind of a different situation. I kind of, back to Meg's question, I think one of the things I liked about, that particular, this area is that I could create what I wanted to. Like I created a situation the way I wanted to create it. And you have the ability to do that in this field. I mean, you can, there's so many different directions you can get into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that also lends towards everything else that we've talked about today, which is the COVID response and how we kind of adapt our lives like this. You can make of this what you want to. Ben brought it up a couple of weeks ago that if you have the next 6 months, which foreseeably we all have, to make some choices and to make some decisions, you can create what you want to out of this. If you're willing to do so and you're willing to ask for help in the areas that you need the help, then you can create whatever you want to from this. You can create a better lifestyle. You can create a healthier you. You can, in 6 months, I mean, you talk about the changes that are possible with your food and your fitness and your lifestyle.
I heard him say that. Yeah, if you were making one small change a day, one tiny little incremental change a day in 6 months, I just can't imagine.
Right?
And that's the nice thing about this whole thing. We have the time and the ability to focus on things that, in the past we didn't have the time and the focus to do. So this is an excellent time, an excellent opportunity to really make a commitment to yourself, because there's nobody else there. You don't have to worry about anybody else.
For sure. Well, I got one more question for you, and come from the negative side of the sports. Yeah, Meg has had some negative experiences. What's your earliest memory of me fitness related?
Oh my word.
Sports, or I don't know.
Well,
jumping from bed to bed.
We had jumping around and trying to find all sorts of sports that we had to do, like, baseball, soccer, cluster ball. We used to call it cluster ball. All those were horrible. And you hit on it with wrestling. Both you and Jared really enjoyed wrestling. And I think it goes back to personality. You're in charge. You make it or claim it or lose it all on your own. And I think for some reason that really suited you, rather than being, dependent on a team that, their success was your success. And then we got you into the fitness. We got you into weight training early.
Yeah.
You were like 12, I think.
Yeah.
And, not heavyweights, but
like 14.
Learning about the fitness room, the weight room, and yeah, it was early. And I remember dragging your brother, by his toes. He did wrestle, but he didn't want to get involved in fitness. And now he's like got a whole gym set up in his house.
Oh yeah.
I'm so proud of him.
Oh yeah. We were talking about the rack he's going to build now, because he bought an adjustable rack off the wall.
He's got Rocky building on to more into his gym. I mean, it's just amazing. I'm so happy for him, because that's, to me, that my thought is that it's the way to really health. And, health is happiness, in my opinion. Not all of it, but health is tied to happiness. So
a big piece of it. Big piece of it. Well, thank you for all that. I hear Brandy growling in the background over there. She's talking to Rocky. She must be asking. She's asking for her walk.
Yeah,
So she's
enough. All right, I've been quiet all the time.
enough
Totally quiet.
Enough computer time. Let's get outside.
So
Well, we'll wrap on that. Any final messages you want to give to everybody in listening land out there in the internet that you'd like to pass on in your experience in fitness and COVID?
Don't be sedentary. Move it or lose it.
I love it. Then that'll be the theme. Move it or lose it. Thank you for coming on, Mom. I appreciate it. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks,
Good to see you. Anytime. Thank you for coming on. If anybody has any questions relating to their health and fitness, you now have 2 people to reach out to. If you have questions, ask at thrivetrainingteam.com or jump on at pegbodytime@gmail.com. You guys have a great day today. Go out there and enjoy yourselves. Move it or lose it, folks.
Bye.
Bye now.
For more information, tips, and workouts of the day, Check out thrivetrainingteam.com.